Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the hundreds and hundreds of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, he's at 147 now. He's not at 140 anymore. He's out the picture, but Danny Garcia is kicking fighters while they're down. He's kicking fighters while they're down. And, in some respects, he has a right to, because these fighters, they call him out. They call him a cherry picker. But in other respects, he doesn't have the right to call him out, because when he was at 140 and they were at 140, he didn't want no part of them. And what I'm talking about is, if you guys haven't seen, I know the quotes I'm getting are from BoxingC.com, but I've seen the video. I think it was on the Boxing Voice. He had an event in Philly, and they asked him about Amir Imam. So he started talking about Amir Imam, and basically, here's what he said. He said, I quote, "That's the kid who called me a cherry picker. It's not as easy as it looks. You could say I've never fought anybody, but you're supposed to be somebody, and you lose. I'm like, you shouldn't be worried about me. You should be worried about yourself. Because realistically, in boxing, he's the prospect, and he's supposed to win that fight. He's supposed to fight for a world title. So don't worry about Danny Garcia. Worry about yourself. I'm not at 140 no more anyway. I'm at 147. Now, let's get a few things straight. Because Danny Garcia is commenting on Amir Imam from a revisionist perspective. When Amir Imam was calling Danny a cherry picker, Danny was at 140, okay? Danny was at 140, and when Danny was at 140 and Amir Imam had your name in his mouth and he wanted you, you didn't even want it. You didn't even know. You didn't even think about addressing it at all. It's now that you're at 147, where the fight isn't even possible to happen, that you want to talk about Amir Imam. Now, let's get a few things straight. Amir Imam got destroyed, iced, embarrassed, and beat down by Adrian Granados. It was the upset of the year in 2015. It was definitely a disappointing performance from a guy that we all looked at as one of the best prospects in boxing. And I'm cool with Amir. He trains up here in South Florida by me, and I think he's going to recover from it. I think he's too talented of a fighter to not recover from it. I think everything, if he does not recover from it, it's on him. It's a mental thing. But he's really talented. Every time I'm at the Heavyweight Factory, excluding the last time I was there, because he went back home to go visit his family. He's always there training, and he's always there working hard. I do think that, looking back on it, that he might have peaked early for the Granados fight. He was training very hard. Sometimes he's one of those guys that strikes me as someone who could overtrain. I'm not saying he did, but he lost. But Danny Garcia, he pisses me off, because he's a good fighter, and he has a solid resume. He has some quality wins on his resume. We talk about Luke Batiste, we talk about Amir Khan, where he's won fights as the underdog. But he's, ever since those fights, man, he's like become a different guy. Like he's not as hungry. He's fighting chumps, the Rod Salkas and the Paulie Malignaggi's of the world, guys he's supposed to destroy, and it's ridiculous. So Danny Garcia, he's got a fight coming with Robert Guerrero, another guy he should beat. A guy who's coming off of one of the worst performances of his career against Aaron Martinez. And he shouldn't. If he looks bad in that fight, then he's really a chump, because he didn't want no parts of Amir Imam. Amir Imam called him on multiple occasions when he was at 140, and he didn't say anything. It's now that he's at 147 that he's talking about Amir Imam. So that's ridiculous. And Victor Postal, we know that Victor Postal was his #1 mandatory, and Danny Garcia paid him a bunch of step-aside money because he didn't want to fight him. I mean, it's ridiculous. Danny Garcia is behaving like a chump, dog, and I would like to see him, in some bigger fights, against better competition, and I feel he will. Now that he's at 147, I hope he will. It's kind of hard to think that he will, because with PBC and Al Haymon, we don't really get those kind of fights where the best are fighting the best. And it's been a while since Danny really tested his skills against someone who belonged in the ring with him. Paulie didn't belong in the ring with him. Rod Salka didn't belong in the ring with him. I mean, I don't even think Guerrero belongs in the ring with him. He's not coming off a really good performance. I think Danny is heavily favored in this fight. I think it is what it is. Danny has a history of fighting guys he's supposed to beat as of late. When he had to come up and prove himself, he had some quality victories. I can't take that. I can never take the Danny Garcia, the Amir Khan performance from him, and I'll never take away Lucas Batista from him. But that's 3 or 4 years ago. It's time to kind of show and prove again. And you're at a new weight class, so even more reason to show and prove. And I just laugh that he wants to call Amir Imam out now when he's at 147. He wasn't saying his name at all when he was at 140 because, hey, we know Danny Garcia has struggled with boxers in the past, and Amir Imam can box, has good boxing ability, and he's got some pop behind his boxing ability. He's a boxer puncher, and stylistically speaking, that would have been a bad matchup for Danny Garcia. Regardless of what you want to say about Amir Imam, Danny doesn't have a high punch output, and I think Amir Imam would have been that would have been a 50-50 fight. So it is what it is. But Danny Garcia running his mouth about Amir Imam, what he's saying is true. He was a prospect. He is supposed to be Granados, but hey, this is boxing. And Amir Imam lost, and it is what it is. But what I have an issue with is Danny Garcia now wanting to talk about Amir Imam now that he's not at 140. I just find that hilarious. But let me know what you guys think. Danny Garcia talking about Amir Imam and how he shouldn't be worried about him, and now deciding to run his mouth about him now that he's 147, but he didn't do it when he was at 140. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Take the time to subscribe, and until next time, take care, guys.